Cool. So we're here with the boys going over UFC Fight Night Saudi Arabia predictions. UFC Fight Night Saudi Arabia goes down this Saturday. It's a morning card, so for anybody watching, just remember that it is an early morning card. Prelims start at 6 a.m. and the main card is at 9 a.m. Pacific. That being said, we can hop right into it. What do you guys think? Should we go top to bottom or bottom to top of the main card? I'm thinking bottom
Start
to
with the
top.
prelims. Yeah, start from the
You,
bottom, work our way up
all
to the
right.
top.
Are we doing the whole
That,
card or just the main card?
but let's do the whole card, bro. Let's do the whole card.
All right, let me pull it up. Let me pull it up.
All right. I don't know too much about a lot of these guys, but we're gonna do our best to make some
Nah,
to
you're
make some picks.
unprepared, brother.
All right. First fight of the night. It's a heavyweight fight. Hamdi Abdul Wahab versus Jamal Pogs.
Yeah.
We got Mr. Hamdi Abdel Wahab, from Egypt. Um, he is 0
5
and
and
1 in the
0.
UFC. Let's see. He had a
It's
split
actually no
decision win.
contest.
He had a split decision win overturned because he tested positive for some sort of steroid. So with this one, I mean, I'm gonna go with the Egypt guy because Jamal
Yeah.
Pogs doesn't have a Wikipedia, so I don't really know what to
I,
go off of from there.
I'm going with the Egypt guy as well. Jamal Pogs is 4-1 in his last five, which is great, but they're all, decision wins, so not a lot of, conviction in his wins. So Abdel Wahab is 5 and 0. His last four wins are all by TKO or knockout, so I think he's putting Pogs to bed.
Think I'm gonna also go for Hamdi. If I'm not mistaken, is Jamal Pogues the dude that was training with John Jones for a while, or am I tripping?
I have no clue. Jamal Pogues.
Remember when he was getting ready for the Cyril Gahn
Oh
fight?
wait, his nickname is the Stormtrooper.
Oh,
Ooh,
that might change a couple picks here. That might change
Stormtrooper.
things.
Um, I mean, he has some experience,
I could
but
have sworn.
I'm going for Hamdi. I'm going for Hamdi.
All right,
Also, this is the post USADA era. Bro's probably juicing out of his mind now, and this is in Saudi Arabia. Bro's gonna come in
100%.
jacked.
bro's definitely gonna win. He's got the Saudis on his side.
Facts, bro. Facts, bro. Next up on the card, Beep Bop Boop, we got Bogdan Grad versus Lucas Alexander. Keon, who you got in that one?
I got Grad over Alexander. Grad is on a three-fight win streak. He's 9-1 over his last 10. So he's been kind of balling lately. And then Alexander, he is coming off a TKO loss in the first round of his last fight. So I'm gonna go with Grad.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Keon's
have to.
done
Yeah,
his
bro did
research.
his for real. Yeah, I'm going Grad too. He has a lot more momentum than Alexander coming off a TKO. So locking it in, Bogdan Grad.
I'm gonna follow you guys on that one. I don't know too much about these guys. I'm trying to find as much information as I can. Wikipedia's ain't helping right now.
You have to go Sherdog, bro.
I gotta go to Sherdog right now, but it's loaded.
All right. Well, moving on to the next fight on the card. We got Jasmine Jasdavicius and Myra Bueno Silva. Myra Bueno Silva, who fought for the title pretty recently.
2 years ago,
Uh,
2023.
yeah, she fought against Raquel. Honestly, looked like crap. And even the fight before that, she fought Holly Holm, but she tested positive for something. So she really hasn't had a win, like an official win, since 2023 February, which is like basically 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And she got a doctor stoppage in her most recent fight against Macy Chiasson. And
She was
then
looking good though. She was looking good in that fight. I
she
remember
was,
watching it. I was
yeah.
kind of upset, but
Yeah, but Jasmine Jasdavicius, I'm picking her. I feel like she's low-key been slept on ever since her loss to Tracy Cortez, which was a low-key controversial decision. Because before the Tracy Cortez, she had two straight, lost that fight, and now she's on a three-fight win streak, all from last year. And two of those are finishes, which, the women's divisions, if you're a finisher, you stand out a lot. So it's low key kind of like weird that, not weird, but like these are so low on the card. because like they're both ranked in the top 10, but they're like on the
Yeah.
prelims.
Yeah, the fight
Which
setup
like
is crazy.
I get why, from like the UFC's perspective, why they probably buried him on the prelims, but Loki, Jasmine might be a sleeper for like to be a contender later this year. So I'm going with Jazz Devicious for this one.
I'm also gonna go Jazz Davicius. I just don't think Mayra Bueno Silva has really impressed me in the last couple of fights that she's had. If I'm not mistaken, she was also on the Sphere card, wasn't she? Is that the card where she got split
No,
open?
that was Irene Aldana.
Oh, I'm tripping.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think her last fight was stopped to a cut as well.
Yeah, it was a doctor
Yeah, it
stoppage.
was. It was
Okay.
bad cut. I remember it was bad.
Yeah. I think that was a card that was 303. I think me and Devin were there. Yeah, I'm gonna also go with Jazz Davicius. I think she's gonna be a sleeper contender in the division. Tag along with you guys' picks as well.
Yeah. Gotta go with Jazz Devicious. I don't even know how you guys are saying
She's
that
one of
that
Ariel's
name.
girls too. Come on now.
Yeah,
Man.
she's one of
No, she's
All
definitely gonna
right.
win. She's on a 3-fight win streak, two of her last two by way of submission. So, you know, she's been killing it.
Bet. All right, next up, I'm excited for this fight. I'm always excited when Terrence McKinney fights. So it's Terrence McKinney versus Damir Hadzovic. Um, Terrence McKinney, if anyone's seen him fight, he is the definition of kill or be killed. He's either getting completely stiffened out cold, submitted, or he's getting some sort of crazy first round knockout.
Yeah.
Um, he has a lot of skills. Like he's a really good wrestler and he has really good knockout power. I just think that he's like extremely reckless.
Yeah.
And then Demir, looking at his record, he has a lot of experience in the UFC too. He's very up and down. Um, from what I'm seeing, he's lost by KO, he's lost by decision, he's been submitted. So he has a lot of ways that he's lost as well. So this is like kind of a hard one to pick. Um, but I'm gonna ride with McKinney because I like him. I think
Okay.
he's cool. Um, he usually bounces back pretty well off of losses, and I think McKinney is coming off a pretty bad loss, and he took some time off. So hopefully he comes in smart and he can get like a good win. But I'm riding with McKinney. He's my guy. I like him.
Yeah, for sure. They're both coming off a loss. McKinney is like super wild and reckless, so if he does, dial that in, calm down a little while he's in there, I think he'll have great success. I think he should come out with the win.
Yeah, I think McKinney's just a little too much. He's too much of a do or die fighter for me, and he's very inconsistent. I think I'm gonna have to go with Demir. Just judging off of like if I'm a betting guy, I'm not betting on McKinney. I have to go with Demir.
You can't bet on McKinney. There's no way.
No,
No,
there's no
it's
way. He's
too
He's
just
many
too
too
pieces.
inconsistent.
volatile. Dope. All right. So I think that was the first one we didn't agree on. So we'll see how that one plays out. I mean, he could very well lose the fight. He can go in there and get fucking starched in a minute, but we'll see how it happens. Next up on the card, Shamil Gaziev versus Thomas Peterson. Uh,
Gazeve.
Gaziev. Um, he's 13-1. His only loss was against Jairzinho, where he didn't continue after the fourth round. He has lots of finishes. He has submission finishes, TKOs, KOs. He's a big boy. Um, what is it? 2-1 the UFC, and then you got Thomas Peterson, 9-2 in MMA, and he is 1-1 in the UFC. Thomas Peterson actually lost to Jamal Pogues, who's on the card.
Oh wow.
Yep, I saw that. I saw
Yeah,
that.
and he beat Muhammad Usman. Um,
Osman.
which, yeah, the
Osman.
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 So
Baltiza.
with yeah, this is a tough one. I'm gonna go just basically off of experience. I think that Shamil has a lot more high level experience um compared to Thomas Peterson. So I'm riding with Gaziev. I think he has a lot of hype too. Like I think a lot of fans think that he's like kind of like a goofy dude. Like he just kind of I don't know, for whatever reason fans like him a lot. So I'm rolling with Shamil Gaziev. I think he probably finishes him too. He just has a lot more experience.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he was on a 12-fight win streak before he got caught by Rosenstrike. So, he's been pretty dominant over his last fights. He's 13-1. And Peterson, Yeah, he's been good. Like you said, he's off that win versus Usman's younger brother, Muhammad Usman. But yeah, I'm gonna rock with Shamil as well.
We'll rock with Shamil as well. It seems like the UFC were looking to strap a rocket ship to him before the Yarzinho mishap. I don't know what the hype is about him. He hasn't really impressed me too much. I mean, he's coming off of a TKO before his loss to Rosenstrike, and then he has a decision over Dontel Mays. Nothing that's popping off of the resume for me right now, but it looks like he's getting set up for a showcase here. So I'm gonna also go with Gazif.
Kazee, we're rocking with him. And then the last fight on the prelims, we have Muhammad Naimov versus Khan Ofli. Um, and with Naimov, he's coming off a rear naked choke loss in the third round to Felipe Lima. Before that, he was on a three-fight win streak in the UFC, two of them by TKO. Against good guys too. He beat Jamie Malarkey, Nathaniel Wood. He beat Eric. I don't think it's the same Eric Silva that used to fight. I think it's a different Eric Silva, but um, he was on a
There's
pretty
like
good
three Eric
streak.
Silvas.
Yeah, something like that. And then Kaan Olfi, I gotta look up his record. I didn't. Let's see.
He's 12-3-1.
11-3, 0-1 in the UFC. So not great. Lost his fight round two due to strikes against Maron Santos. Um, yeah, a lot of submission wins, decision wins. So definitely coming off as a grappler. Just based off the stats, I'm gonna have to go with Naimov. Um, Especially being sort of like a more of a hometown thing. He's for Muslim guy from Tajikistan fighting in Saudi. He's gonna have a lot of support. Um, yeah, I'm rocking with Naimov.
Yeah, this one was tough for me to decide. Not knowing much of these two fighters, kind of going off their records and what I could find. Yeah, I'm gonna rock with Naimov as well. He had a overall 6-fight win streak that was snapped before he was choked out, so that's kind of brutal. So he's probably gonna be looking to get back on track. So I expect him to come out with the dub.
Yeah, I'm also going for Naimov. I mean, both of them are coming off of losses. They're also two names that are relatively kind of unknown to me. But judging by the odds, it should be setting up for a showcase for Naimov. Um, but yeah, he's gonna be my pick as well. I'm gonna tail you guys on that one.
All right, so that's gonna wrap up the prelims. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and hop into the main card. And the first fight on the main card, I feel like this is a sleeper like opener to the main card. Ferris Zion versus Mike Davis. Um, if I had to make a prediction on what would be the fight of the night, I would say this is going to be the fight of the night. Ferris Zion is coming off of a crazy KO against Matt Frevola. He had that turnaround knee from the clinch, put him out. He's won four straight. His last loss actually was to Terrence McKinney, who's on the card. So going back, that kind of shows where Terrence McKinney is at because this guy is on the main card. But yeah, both of these guys have a lot of momentum, a lot of finishing ability. Mike Davis is, I believe, on a four-fight win streak as well. And his only loss in the UFC was to Gilbert Burns, which is nothing to be like ashamed of. To have your first fight against Gilbert Burns is a tough task. But yeah, for me, this one's tough. I believe Mike Davis is a lot younger. It looks like he's 32. And then Ferris Ziam, let's look it up. Is
Mike
actually, I
Davis
was
is older.
completely wrong.
Yeah, yeah, I know he's the older fighter for five
Yeah.
years.
But I think he's more of a
The,
prospect in his career.
the odds are also in Davis's favor.
Yeah, so this one's gonna be a banger in my opinion because both these guys get finishes. They've been finished before. Um, I am gonna go with Ferris Ziam. I feel like he has a lot of momentum off of that knee he had. He looked really good against Matt Frevola. Um, this one's tough. It can really go either way. I definitely feel like it's going to be like a really good fight. I'm hoping it goes at least into the second or third round so we can see some good exchanges. But yeah, I'm rocking with Ferris Ziam. I'm not off of anything crazy specific because I feel like it's going to be a close fight. But yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tell you on that as well. Just they're both on 4 or 5 win streaks, so nothing crazy there. But yeah, the momentum he's gonna be having off that Bola KO recently, just carrying that over. I just think it's gonna be too much for Mike Davis.
Yeah, I'm going with ZM as well. Also tailing you, both of you. I think he's just a little too chaotic and he's a little bit more technical than Mike Davis. I think he'll put it together to get another dub to continue to climb those ranks.
All right, and then we got Saeed Nurmagomedov versus Vinicius Oliveira.
Before you
Uh,
talk about this fight, if Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway don't exist, this guy won knockout of the year.
Facts. That's true.
Oh yeah.
100% facts.
That's true. Yeah, Vinicius Oliveira coming. Or I don't think it was his last fight. I think it was 2 fights ago. He
Yeah.
had that
Shabbat.
crazy flying knee, and then he had I think a unanimous decision win, or maybe it was a late KO if I'm not mistaken in his next fight.
Unanimous decision of Ricky Simone.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so Saeed Nurmagomedov is a guy who I've seen him fight, and I've seen him fight a lot. He definitely is, I would say, with all the hype that a lot of the Dagestani fighters get, he definitely feel like he hasn't delivered like the performances that like a lot of the other guys get. He gets a lot of wins, like he has like really good record. He's 18-3. And he either gets like a really early submission or I feel like he usually gasses out and loses the decision. Um, he's coming off a win against Main Gufarov, whoever that is. Not a really crazy name to get a win over, but he's lost against Jonathan Martinez. He's lost against Raoni Barcelos. And he's lost before that too on the regional scene. Um, but then he also has wins against Cody Stamann, which is a really good opponent, and has a lot of submissions. With that being said, I think Vinicius Oliveira is super, super dangerous and has a really good style. He did show that he can get out of like a lot of grappling exchanges in his last fight against Ricky Simone. And like I said, I don't think Saeed's grappling is as good as some of the other Dagestani fighters are. I think there's a lot of like aura that goes around them just because they're from Dagestan, but his grappling isn't really anything crazy. Um, so I'm going with Vinicius. I feel like he has a lot more vicious finishing ability. He has a really creative striking style, and I think he has a lot more hype and momentum. So I feel like he's going to get it done. I don't know if he finishes them, but I feel like he gets the job done.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell that, I'll never root for a Dagestani fighter, but I'm gonna go with Vinicius as well. I think he was battle tested for Ricky Simon. I feel like that was one of the first times where like, you know, or a time where he was not just able to go in there, put the dude out, crazy knockout, crazy striking. Ricky Stone tested him, so I think coming off that win, that that momentum, like you were talking about, is going to be enough. Like I said, I don't think he's probably going to get the finish over Saeed, but I definitely think he's going to come off with the win.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of in between on this fight. It's just I don't know if it's just the name Nurmagomedov is just
It
tied
is.
to like a classic like wrestling style clinic that's going to be going on. Um, I'm aligned with Keon. I don't think I would ever go and root for a Dagestani unless it's Islam versus anybody but Charles. Um,
Hell no.
but I do think if Oliveira can stuff the takedowns and stay kind of unpredictable on the feet and mix it up, I do think that he could get the finish, or he'll win a unanimous decision. But I don't know if Saeed gets the takedowns, I think it's just going to be a boring wrestling clinic. But my overall pick is going to be Oliveira.
Yeah, we don't mess
We're,
with the Dagestanis around here at K2 Combat Global, baby. Uh-uh.
we're dancing with the Brazilians again.
Yeah, oh God.
All right, next up on the card, heavyweight fight. This is another fight that I feel like fans are like low key sleeping on because this fight's going to be
This is gonna be a
crazy.
banger.
Yeah, Sergey Pavlovich versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Sergey's coming off of two straight losses. He's coming off the KO loss to Aspinall, and then he lost a decision to Volkov. Again, two losses that aren't like anything to hang your head on. Obviously, Aspinall is, arguably the best heavyweight in the world. And then Volkov has clearly had like a second win in his career where let's be real, he beat Cyril Gane in his last fight, even though they didn't give him the decision. And he's on a big streak. And before that, Sergey was running through everybody. And then the same thing with Jairzinho. Jairzinho's been a little more up and down in his career, but he is coming off 2 wins. He beat Shamil in that fight earlier last year, and then he had a split decision against Tai Tuivasa. Uh,
It was
but
a
he's also
unanimous. That split was
There was no way
terrible.
that was a
It
split.
was a
yeah,
unanimous decision because it was in the land down under. That's why he got the split.
facts. But Jairzinho's also had losses to Jolton Almeida. He got TKO'd by Volkov, lost to Curtis Blades. Um, but a lot of his losses are usually people with grappling, but he's also lost up on the feet. Guys like Francis, he's been TKO'd by Volkov, things like that. Um, even though the momentums are kind of like split between both guys, I definitely feel like I'm gonna go with Sergey. I think he's a more dangerous fighter. I feel like Jairzinho is really, really passive, and he just doesn't really show his like I don't know how to explain it. He doesn't really show his like skills that much. I feel like he's content, like kind of just like winning a boring decision. But then Sergey definitely is gonna move forward and like press the pace. And I just think it's gonna be a little bit too much for Jairzinho. And I feel like he's gonna end up getting finished. Jairzinho also shows that he can get knocked out. He's been put out cold multiple times. Um, and when he's fighting like strikers that put on a lot of pressure, he has a lot of trouble. So I'm going with Pavlovich. I think he gets back on track. I think that off of the two losses with his back against the wall, he wants to make a statement, and I think he's gonna do that.
Yeah, I kind of had the same thought process when it came to this fight. Honestly, I didn't know who to pick because I kind of have a sour taste in my mouth about how Pavlovich handled the Volkov loss, pushing him and being all soft
They
about
were
it. I don't
friends
know.
too.
They were friends and he
He
just,
was
he
salty.
lost and it was a clear loss. Like Volkov came in ready to go, gave it to him and, got the dub. And I think overall, I think Pavlovich is just going to have too much for Rosenstruck, like, Keon was saying, that just a little passive and I think he's looking to get on the right track. He has two losses, to Aspinall Volkov. So again, not bad people to lose to, but definitely gonna want to get back in the win column. So I'm gonna go with Pavlovich over Rosenstrike here.
Yeah, this is a weird fight because they're ranked in the top 10 at heavyweight. Heavyweight is kind of a diminished division, let's be honest. But they're both coming off losses, and I think whoever wins this fight will be like their last shot at title contention. The loser of this, I don't think will ever reach that point again. But it is heavyweight MMA, so who knows? To me, I think someone's going to sleep, or it's going to be a boring decision for Sergey. I just think coming off those two losses, if he can't find the KO in the first, I think he kind of struggles putting it together on the feet with combinations and stuff. I think he's more of a one of those power punchers, one hit wonder kind of things. Um, I do think that Jairzinho was. I think he was hailed as one of these next great like kickboxers coming up before he got knocked out by Francis, and ever since then he's just been hot and cold. And ultimately, I think he's facing someone with similar power with Sergey, and I think he's gonna end up losing in similar fashion. So I'm going Sergey KO.
All right, we're going with Sergey. Um, yeah, moving on to the next fight. Super interesting fight. We got Shara Bullet versus Michael Venom Page. And I feel like a lot of people are excited for this fight, and I think that's cool, but I want to see what you guys thought about this because I have a bad feeling that this fight is going to be really boring.
So that was
Uh,
my breakdown of it. I
I
thought the same thing.
yeah, I just have a feeling that like Shara has a style where he throws a lot of flashy stuff, but he doesn't show a lot of fundamentals. I'm sure he has them. And Michael Page, has a lot of spectacular fights, but then he also has fights where he just like kind of just fights on
He's
the
very low
outside.
output.
Yeah, lower output. And these guys are both not wanting to get caught with something crazy. And I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. Because like Char Bullet puts on crazy KOs. Michael Page has a freaking highlight reel, like an all-time highlight reel. Um, Also, Michael Page is moving up in weight. So, but Shara is not really like a big middleweight.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, if I had to make a pick, honestly, I think I'm gonna go with Michael Page because I have a feeling the most likely outcome is that he's gonna keep it really technical. and he's going to use his boxing. And I think Shara has shown that he has like a weakness against like guys with better boxing. Um, and I just think that Shara has shown in a lot of his fights that he kind of like he doesn't really win these like dominant performances. They're kind of very back and forth, and then he just pulls something crazy out of his ass, like in the second or third round. But I think Michael Page is a little bit too smart to get caught with some, like he's not going to get caught with a double spinning back fist, in my
No.
opinion.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not. I do agree that it's going to be pretty from the outside, pretty boring, and then I just think Shara is going to get it done in like the second or third round, just like how all of his fights have been. Because I've talked about it before with Yuki on that Shara just doesn't really impress me throughout his fight until he gets the finish. So like I'm just watching him, just kind of underwhelmed by him. This one and Michael Venom Page, I've seen it too many times. He just stands on the outside and just waits and waits and tries to bounce in and out. So it's definitely going to be like that the whole time. But I do see Shaw getting the finish in third round.
All right,
Yeah, I kind of am aligned with Keon. I think that this is just going
which
to be one of
one?
those fights
Which
with
one?
how do I distinguish you guys on the stream? K1, K2, what's going on here?
I'll be K1.
Okay. I agree with K2. I just don't think that this fight's going to end up living up to the hype. Um, there's definitely it's two strikers with very flashy styles, but ultimately, unless Shara catches MVP, I think it's just going to be one of those calm, very slow output point style wins for MVP. I honestly don't think there's a finish in this fight. I think it's just going to be a very lackluster decision, but I do think it's going to be pretty unanimous for MVP. Um, that's pretty much how I'm seeing it.
All
Fair,
right,
fair.
valid. And then last but not least, we got the main event. We got Israel Adesanya versus Nasruddin Imavov. Um, so obviously, if you guys don't know me, I'm biased. So I'll say off top, I'm going for Izzy. Um, I feel like a lot of people are counting him out. I think that, he still looked good against Dricus in his last fight. I think his boxing definitely improved. I just think that Dricus's awkward style like threw him off and just like he got caught and lost focus. And then the Strickland fight, I'm not going to sit here and say it was a fluke, but I just think that that just wasn't his night. I just think that he was off. He had a bad night and he lost fair and square. But then not too long ago, he's knocking out Pereira, out cold in the second round. Not too, and then even before that, he was winning that fight, which in my opinion was a BS stoppage in the first Pereira fight. Um, and then you have Imavov, who's on a really good streak. But at the same time, like Imavov, like also got his ass beat by Strickland. Um, and Strickland took that fight, if I'm not mistaken, on really short notice. Um, he has, the win against Cannonier, which was also an early stoppage, and then he beat Brendan Allen. I just think that the level of competition that Izzy has fought, even though Izzy has a couple losses, I mean, Izzy's fighting guys like Dricus and Pereira, and Imavov is just not facing that type of competition, and he doesn't have the main event experience. So I'm rocking with Izzy. I think Izzy makes a statement, and I think Izzy gets the job done. And I think, honestly, I think he gets a finish. I think he gets a finish maybe in the second or third round. Um, that's what I'm going with. I'm going with Izzy.
I'm gonna rock with Izzy as well. Um, just the overall more experienced, better technical fighter. He looked. I mean, I'm watching that fight over DDP, and I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be another Izzy decision win. Just looked too good throughout the rounds. Then just got caught in the awkward style of DDP, took him down, submitted him. It was quick. So fast that exchange from getting onto the ground and getting tapped out. So I think Izzy just looked phenomenal though. He was locked in. His striking was sharp. I think that's going to carry over into this. I think if he went on to lose, he'd probably have to put the gloves down and hang him up and be done. But I think Imavov is not gonna. It's gonna be too much. Izzy's gonna have too much for him, and he's gonna win by decision, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to agree with the both of you. I can't pick against Izzy. He's one of my favorite fighters. Even on a skid, it's just I can't. It's do or die for him. I feel like his back's against the wall. He has a lot of doubters going into the fight, and I do think that brings the fire out of Izzy. Like you said, in that Dricus fight, he was locked in and he was touching up Dricus, and I do think he was ahead. Dricus is just that very awkward style, and you can't really make any type of mistake because Dricus is just Dricus. Um, I do think that Imavov has very clean and precise striking. I don't think that he can contend with Izzy on the feet just based off of Izzy's style and experience. Um, it's weird going into this fight because Imavov, I believe, is on a 3-fight win streak, but I feel like there's no momentum on his side. I feel like those wins didn't really carry a lot of vigor in it because it was just very lackluster decisions or there wasn't really a lot of eyes on it. Um, I do think this is going to be either a late stoppage for Izzy or it's going to be a pretty dominant decision win. We know when Izzy's back is against the wall is when we see the best version of him, and I got to go with them.
All
I mean,
right.
at the end of the day, I spent $400 on these fucking pearls because I'm an Izzy
Pearls.
fan. So I gotta go with Izzy.
Watch him get
The
knocked
pearl.
out.
Hey,
No, don't
whoa,
speak about
Oh, I'm
that.
joking. I'm
whoa,
joking. I'm joking. He's good.
whoa.
He's good. He's got this in the bag against Nasruddin in the Lvov.
All right, who are you guys picking for what do you think is gonna be the fight of the night?
Hmm.
Um, hmm.
I think it's
I'm gonna
gonna
go
be
with
that Ferris Young.
I'm gonna go with Pavlovich and Rosenstrike. I think that's gonna be two
Ooh.
heavyweights just throwing bombs, and someone's gonna get finished. And I think Rosenstrike is gonna get finished by Pavlovich.
I'm
I think
thinking I'm going with Zion and Davis. I think that's gonna be a good fight. Um, yeah, if I had to pick one, I think it's gonna be that. Loki, I feel like as long as like their chins hold up, McKinney and Hadzovic could be a good fight too.
yeah, that's what I
Um,
was
Sure.
thinking. If McKinney is McKinney and we get that classic McKinney fight, I think we're in for a treat on that one. But other than that, I'm going with Zion.
yeah, Zion Davis. All right, cool. Well, we're running out of time. Make sure you guys drop your picks in the comments. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and follow us on social media, K2 Combat Global. And we will be back next week to recap, see how we did on our picks. We aligned on most of them, but we had a couple where we didn't align. So we'll go ahead and recap and we'll keep track of our picks moving forward.